Foreign Secretary Mr. David Miliband was explaining the position of the UK government on a range of issues ahead of the European meeting of the Council of Ministers at the end of this week. The first item on the agenda will be economic recovery. Europe had already agreed a £200 billion fiscal stimulus, which Britain had met many times over.
I think we'll come on to that a bit later, but this European Council will do two things on the economic front. The first is to take stock of the European economic situation since the London summit and consider measures to support the economy. With the Commission predicting a 4% decline in output across the EU, and with 60% of all our exports, 700,000 of our companies and 3 million jobs, British jobs, dependent on trade with the EU, the Prime Minister is right that a strengthened European growth strategy is a vital component in the move out of global recession. In one moment, we have already increased the resources available to the European institutions. Through its balance of payments facility, which was doubled to €50 billion, the EU has provided sizable loans to Romania, Hungary and Latvia. But further increasing the remit of the European Investment Bank and the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development will be important if we are to reignite the engine of growth.
The second economic priority was to take preliminary decisions on financial regulation, which could lead to a detailed look at hedge funds.
Regulation means setting the rules, supervision means checking they are implemented properly, and this requires the right balance of national and international powers. The government has already made clear that the Larosière report and subsequent Commission proposals are a good starting point. There is much that we welcome, There is much that we welcome, particularly improvement to regulatory standards and supervisory cooperation, and the establishment of a new European body to monitor emerging systemic risks, the European Systemic Risk Board. The debate we should be having is about the details of that regulation. Now, to take one part of the example that he's given, we think it is right that we look at how we can improve the regulation of so-called hedge funds, but the details have to be got right. And we are at a preliminary stage in the discussion of the hedge funds question. There are very detailed arguments, for example, about funds that come from outside the European Union. They need to be properly taken into account in the development of any detailed regulatory proposals.
And climate change was a vital issue ahead of Copenhagen in December.
It's vital that the EU continues to show leadership in achieving an ambitious global deal at the Copenhagen summit in December, and this Council is an opportunity to push things forward. The green revolution is not just about avoiding devastating damage to the planet, it's also about avoiding another commodity price spike, which would be a major impediment to the economic recovery. With the oil price now having hit the $70 a barrel mark, there is a real fear that unchecked this could choke off growth, just as we are working hard to try to restore it.
On foreign affairs, there would be discussion on a two-state solution for Israel and Palestine.
I would highlight the importance of funding the institutions of a Palestinian state, economic and security institutions, and providing political impetus to Israelis and Arabs to make the necessary compromises for peace. There is also a vital regional element. Israel needs more security from Arabs, not just from Palestinians. Palestinians need support from Arab states, not just from land from Israel.
Before the meeting of ministers, the UK had instigated the first summit meeting between Pakistan and Europe. Apart from funding solutions for refugees in a northwest frontier, the EU should give finance and expertise for institution building, and there should be help with trade.